In addition to the making of the Constitution and enacting of ordinary laws, the Constituent Assembly also performed the following functions. First, it ratified the India's membership of the Commonwealth in May 1949. Second, it adopted the national flag on July 22, 1947. Third, it adopted the national anthem on January 24, 1950. Fourth, it adopted the national song on January 24, 1950. Fifth, it elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the first President of India on January 24, 1950. In all, the Constituent Assembly had 11 sessions over 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. The constitution makers had gone through the constitutions of about 60 countries, and the draft constitution was considered for 114 days. The total expenditure incurred on making the constitution amounted to Rs 64 lakh. On January 24, 1950, the Constituent Assembly held its final session. It, however, did not end and continued as the Provisional Parliament of India from January 26, 1950, till the formation of new Parliament after the first general elections in 1951-52. The Provisional Parliament ceased to exist on April 17, 1952. The first elected Parliament with the two houses came into being in May 1952. Committees of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly appointed a number of committees to deal with different tasks of constitution making. Out of these, 8 were major committees and the others were minor committees. Major committees. First, Union Powers Committee, headed by Jawaharlal Nehru. Second, Union Constitution Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Third, Provincial Constitution Committee, Sardar Patel. Fourth, Drafting Committee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Fifth, Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas, Sardar Patel. This committee had the following subcommittees. A. Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, J.B. Riplani. B. Minorities Subcommittee, H.C. Mukherjee. 6. Rules of Procedure Committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. 7. States Committee, Committee for Negotiating with States, Jawaharlal Nehru. 8. Steering Committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Minor committees. First, Committee on the Functions of the Constituent Assembly, G.V. Maulankar. Second, Order of Business Committee, Dr. K.M. Munshi. Third, House Committee, B. Pattavi Sitaramaiah. Fourth, Ad hoc Committee on the National Flag, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Fifth, Special Committee on Examine the Draft Constitution, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer. Sixth, Credentials Committee, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer. Seventh, Finance and Staff Committee, A.N. Sinha. Eighth, Hindi Translation Committee. 9th, Urdu Translation Committee. 10th, Press Gallery Committee. 11th, Committee to examine the effect of Indian Independence Act of 1947. 12th, Committee on Chief Commissioners Provinces, B. Pattavi Sitaramaiah. 13th, Commission on Linguistic Provinces. 14th, Expert Committee on Financial Provisions. 15th, Ad hoc Committee on the Supreme Court. Drafting Committee. Among all the committees of the Constituent Assembly, the most important committee was the Drafting Committee, set up on August 29, 1947. It was this committee that was entrusted with the task of preparing a draft of the new constitution. It consisted of 7 members. They were: first, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Chairman. Second, N. Gopalswamy Iyengar. Third, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer. Fourth, Dr. K.M. Munshi. Fifth, Sayyid Muhammad Sadullah. Sixth, N. Madhav Rao. He replaced B.L. Mittar, who resigned due to ill health. Seventh, T.T. Krishnamachari. He replaced D.P. Khaitan, who died in 1948. The Drafting Committee, after taking into consideration the proposals of the various committees, prepared the first draft of the Constitution of India, which was published in February 1948. The people of India were given 8 months to discuss the draft and propose amendments. In the light of the public comments, criticisms, and suggestions, the drafting committee prepared a second draft, which was published in October 1948. The drafting committee took less than 6 months to prepare its draft. In all, it sat only for 141 days. Enactment of the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar introduced the final draft of the Constitution in the Assembly on November 4, 1948, which was first reading. The Assembly had a general discussion on it for 5 days, till November 9, 1948. The second reading, clause by clause consideration, started on November 15, 1948 and ended on October 17, 1949. During this stage, as many as 7,653 amendments were proposed and 2,473 were actually discussed in the Assembly. The third reading of the draft started on November 14, 1949. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar moved a motion. The Constitution as settled by the Assembly be passed. The motion on draft Constitution was declared as passed on November 26, 1949 and received the signature of the members and the President. Out of total 299 members of the Assembly, only 284 were actually present on that day and signed the Constitution. This is also the date mentioned in the preamble as the date on which the people of India in the Constituent Assembly adopted, enacted, and gave to themselves this Constitution. The Constitution as adopted on November 26, 1949 contained a preamble, 395 articles, and 8 schedules. The preamble was enacted after the entire Constitution was already enacted. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the then Law Minister, piloted the draft Constitution in the Assembly. He took a very prominent part in the deliberations of the Assembly. He was known for his logical, forceful, and persuasive arguments on the floor of the Assembly. He is recognized as the father of the Constitution of India. Enforcement of the Constitution. Some provisions of the Constitution pertaining to citizenship, elections, provisional parliament, temporary and transitional provisions, and short title contained in Articles 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 324, 366, 367, 379, 380, 388, 391, 392, and 393 came into force on November 26, 1949 itself. The remaining provisions, the major part of the Constitution, came into force on January 26, 1950. This day is referred to in the Constitution as the date of its commencement and celebrated as the Republic Day. January 26 was specifically chosen as the date of commencement of the Constitution because of its historical importance. It was on this day in 1930 that Purna Swaraj Day was celebrated, following the dissolution of the Lahore session, December 1929 of the INC. With the commencement of the Constitution, the Indian Independence Act of 1947 and the Government of India Act of 1935, with all enactments amending or supplementing the latter act, were repealed. The abolition of Privy Council Jurisdiction Act 1949 was, however, continued. Criticism of the Constituent Assembly. The critics have criticized the Constituent Assembly on various grounds. First, not a representative body. The critics have argued that the Constituent Assembly was not a representative body as its members were not directly elected by the people of India on the basis of universal adult franchise. Second, not a sovereign body. The critics maintained that the Constituent Assembly was not a sovereign body as it was created by the proposals of the British government. Further, they said that the Assembly held its sessions with the permission of the British government. Third, time consuming. According to the critics, the Constituent Assembly took unduly long time to make the Constitution. They stated that the framers of the American Constitution took only 4 months to complete their work. Fourth, dominated by the Congress. The critics charged that the Constituent Assembly was dominated by the Congress Party. Granville Austin, a British constitutional expert, remarked, "The Constituent Assembly was a one-party body in an essentially one-party country. The Assembly was the Congress and the Congress was India." Fifth, lawyer-politician domination. It is also maintained by the critics that the Constituent Assembly was dominated by lawyers and politicians. They pointed out that other sections of the society were not sufficiently represented. This to them is the main reason for the bulkiness and complicated language of the Constitution. 6. Dominated by Hindus. According to some critics, the Constituent Assembly was a Hindu-dominated body. Lord Viscount Simon called it a body of Hindus. Similarly, Winston Churchill commented that the Constituent Assembly represented only one major community in India. Dr. Ambedkar, in his concluding speech, said, "I feel, however good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work it happen to be a bad lot. However bad a constitution may be, it may turn out to be good if those who are called to work it happen to be a good lot." The working of a constitution does not depend wholly upon the nature of the constitution. The constitution can provide only the organs of state, such as the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The factors on which the working of those organs of state depends on the people and the political parties they will set up as their instruments to carry out their wishes and their politics. Who can say how the people of India and their parties will behave? In addition to our old enemies in the form of castes and creeds, we are going to have many political parties with diverse and opposing political creeds. Will Indians place the country above their creed, or will they place creed above country? I do not know. But this much is certain, that if the parties place creed above country, our independence will be put in jeopardy a second time and probably be lost forever. This eventuality we must all resolutely guard against. We must be determined to defend our independence with the last drop of our blood. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, in his concluding speech, said, "If the people who are elected are capable and men of character and integrity, they would be able to make the best even of a defective constitution. If they are lacking in this, the constitution cannot help the country. After all, a constitution, like a machine, is a lifeless thing. It acquires life because of men who control it and operate it. And India needs today nothing more than a set of honest men who will have the interest of the country before them." There is a vociferous tendency arising out of various elements in our life. We have communal differences, caste differences, language differences, provincial differences, and so forth. It requires men of strong character, men of vision, men who will not sacrifice the interests of the country at large for the sake of smaller groups and areas, and who will rise over the prejudices which are born of these differences. We can only hope that the country will throw up such men in abundance. If you enjoyed the video, then please like and share this video. Do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.